Hey true believers, I'm Roderick, your friendly neighborhood geek from Fresh Geek Entertainment, the one-stop shop for everything geek related. I will be bringing you reviews on the latest in geek culture and anything honestly that sparks my interest. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like my content. Today, I'll be reviewing She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Episode 2, Superhuman Law. So let's jump in. Alright, before we get into my non-spoiler thoughts of what I thought about the episode, something I really wanted to call out. You'll notice that in the recap, you get a quick few seconds of Jennifer Walters when she was at that bar, and when she transforms.
Oh, what? You too good to talk to us?
Did you guys see her hairstyle and how it's actually different from any other time that she transforms? Her hair actually was a little more frazzled out, a little more savage looking. I think this may be our first appearance of Savage She-Hulk. Alright, let's jump into my non-spoiler thoughts. I really love this episode. It's maybe not as good as the first one. I think the pilot is so tight, so fresh. The humor is on point. I'm not saying that that's not the case in this episode. I just feel that we needed everything to be set up in episode 1 for everything in episode 2 to feel paid off. Let's jump to the review. The episode starts out with jumping back to the character that was introduced in the last episode, Titania. And it turns out she's an influencer.
Show a stunning scene from the Metropolitan Courthouse today where superpowered influencer Titania caused panic while fleeing traffic court.
I like that adds to that character. She's almost becoming like this Kim Kardashian type, but also has powers. I don't know if anyone has catch this lately. There's a viral video going around by a certified Tatiana Twitter account. I'm following it, by the way. Here's the clip. To me, this is promotional material should be for series. We should be engaging the audience more into these characters. You know, seeing her dressed up as Titania, spray painting She-Hulk posters, and she's going around California, which is where the show is taking place. I think it's just brilliant. We get to finally see where these names come from. I love that we get this eyewitness account and the guy's like,
A chick Hulk. A She-Hulk? Exactly.
Hulk says it, you know, in the first episode.
You're Hulk again.
Smart Hulk.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. You never have a choice with these names.
Where are...
This is what happens. I think the only character that's really told someone, hey, call me this, which has comic book roots, is Spider-Man. In Civil War, he tells Tony,
You're the Spiderling. Crime-fighting spider. You're Spider-Boy?
Spider-Man.
Not in that onesie, you're not.
It's not a onesie.
I like that because he wants to live up to a mantle he wants to appear as, which I really appreciate. But here you see just like how everyone else gets named. Hulk gets named. Iron Man was named the same way She-Hulk was. The general public gives you your name. By the way, we're in the spoiler section, so Abomination. Abomination's in the episode, everybody. Emil Blonsky's back. Incredible. Russian-born, British raised. Alright, so the next scene we get to actually see is the bar. This might be the place where we see characters like Matt Murdock show up. And you'll get to see cameos in the background. I think they're going to start doing this. Now, in this scene, we see a lot happens. You know, Dennis is a jerk. We see that She-Hulk's boss fires her. We even see She-Hulk succumb to her own human metabolism when it comes to alcohol. So when she transforms, she's immediately drunk.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, different metabolism.
We didn't win the case.
Oh, yeah, we did.
GOK.
I know that people have mentioned that this is from the comics. I like these little touches. Again, I want people to know I didn't get the fortunate opportunity to read the She-Hulk comics when they came out. You know, I'm just catching this character here in the MCU. Now, something I think is very interesting is Nikki seems very supportive and encouraging. I do wish that there was a little bit more nuance between them about taking on this mantle of She-Hulk. I understand that Nikki is focusing on the positive and making the best of everything, and I think that's a good outlook. I think a lot of people should have this outlook. But something is a little suspicious to me. You know, I don't know if it's just her line delivery when she's like,
That's for you. No.
Lady Hulk, Girl Hulk, She-Hulk. Come on, just give them what they want.
But I really hope that Nikki is not going to become a character that enables She-Hulk right after She-Hulk gets fired. I like that they changed the title card from She-Hulk Attorney at Law to Attorney for Hire. That's great. I like that little nod. It's another fourth wall break that kind of doesn't require Jennifer Walters to talk to us. We immediately know, okay, here we go. And I like how the filmmakers or the creators behind the show, they really focused on that crisis that people go through. It's very relatable. When you lose your job, you don't just lose a job, you can lose a lot of your confidence, your willpower sometimes, your own ego can get affected, and it can really cause you to second guess yourself, second guess your abilities, your skills. And watching Jennifer Walters do these interviews, starting from very posh environments, very luxurious environments, to honestly very poor, disorganized law firms, and still not getting a job because she's the She-Hulk. She's realizing now that Bruce was right about, you now watch her struggle with getting a job, and Bruce was right. It's like, I don't know how you return to your law firm. You're a Hulk, and understandably so, Jennifer Walters feels like she was shafted from the general public, from law firms. It's like, hey, what did you want me to do? Just let these people get squished? Yes, we're about to talk about the webpage. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, and there's also, by the way, I think this is one of the other QR codes that you can spot. I think it's the one in this episode, so make sure to scan it. I think you get a free She-Hulk comic. Okay, so this webpage is a big deal, and I bet you already know why. But let's start from the top. You can see fun, movies, Find Ant-Man, Cars, Norse mythology, Avengers, Insanity. I can't really spot if that's a wand or something. I have no idea. Now, I think when it comes to the interesting points here is Find Ant-Man. So it's clear that people don't know where Ant-Man is. He's kind of become this underground podcaster, someone who speaks about the events of the Avengers. Norse mythology is very interesting. I think that's because of New Asgard having such a bigger development in the MCU as now taking on land on Earth. The Avengers, I think, is very interesting. So it's clear that the general public cares a lot about the Avengers, that it's actually just a complete subsection on this website. But we're missing the biggest thing on this webpage. Why there is a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean. So it's clear that people are already aware of the events of Eternals. People have been asking for this for so long. I'm going to be honest, can I give you my 2 cents on this? If people don't talk about a topic in the MCU, it doesn't ruin the MCU for me. It doesn't need to take place. You don't need every character to talk about a world kind of event all the time. I mean, just look what happened with our Earth during the pandemic. Look at the things that have happened even during that time, wars that have broken out. Not everything is every other sentence in someone else's conversation with somebody. Not everybody wants to talk about this stuff, right? So why there's a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean? Love it. I love that we're talking about this. We also have this ad for Iron Man 3s. I kind of like that. I like this kind of in-universe kind of promotion for what looks to be, I think, Jordans. It's really difficult, but the shoe looks great. I think the biggest part here that we need to cover, man fights with metal claws in bar brawl. So, one, I don't know any other character in the Marvel Universe that, one, possesses metal claws and frequently goes to bars. Don't really know that many other than one. I wish it said short man fights with metal claws in bar. It would be nice. It would be like, okay, so that's a direct reference. Now, this is not the first X-Men reference in the MCU. We have now had Miss Marvel.
I need to tell you something. So I went back and looked at your genetic makeup again. Amir kept asking if you might have powers too. And I think we might have had it wrong the first time around. when I compared you to the rest of your family, something still seemed off. Kamala, there's something different in your genes. Like a mutation.
What's really cool about that is that it turns out that that was actually going to be in the comics, but I wanted to call out this webpage. It's a huge deal. I probably spent already too much time on it, but it's for me, it's totally worth it, as I'm Canadian. One of my favorite characters in the X-Men universe was Wolverine, like a lot of other people. All right, so we're jumping to now. All right, so we catch back up with Jennifer Walters at the legal bar that we were mentioning earlier. And the defendant, the actual head, I believe, attorney from the GLK&H law firm, and talks to Jennifer Walters about a possible position in the superhuman law division. Now, I find it very suspicious that, coincidentally, after Jennifer Walters becomes She-Hulk, a few months later, Titania disrupts a courtroom. Jennifer Walters has to turn into She-Hulk. After this event, sparks the interest in GLK&H in a superhuman law division. I'm wondering who's financing that or backing that, especially when we find out that they're doing the Emil Blonsky case pro bono, just for the public attention on the law firm alone. I thought that was very interesting, and I think we're going to learn more about how, it's very convenient that they're hiring She-Hulk. She-Hulk does an incredible job, and if you're able to convince her to back, someone like Emil Blonsky, which, is within the gray area of the court cases that we've seen, because you hear Emil Blonsky's case that he honestly feels like he was not given the same judgment of character that Hulk was.
The serum the government gave you caused your subsequent actions?
I was a highly decorated soldier. Sent on a mission to take out a threat. And I thought I was the good guy. I thought I was going to be, Captain Bloody America, something. Your cousin is held up as some kind of hero, and I'm locked up in here. Where's the justice in that, Jen?
Hulk was deemed someone who could still continue to be Bruce Banner, even though he has a crazy monster inside of him. So, and Emil calls that out. But I don't know, there's something about Emil Blonsky's body language that tells me he is remorseful, but he may have revenge for Hulk. And we may see that in the future. So I'm looking forward to their development in that character. But the way Tim Roth is exploring the character of Emil Blonsky so many years after we've seen him in Incredible Hulk, where he was more power hungry, and now he's way more, namaste. And he's looking at the choices he's made, and he's looking at the factors that may have led him down the wrong path. Being shot up with the super soldier serum was not necessarily a good idea. Now, he did volunteer for this, so that needs to be put in question, but clearly from his defending case, he doesn't want to mention all of these things. He wants to stick to the facts that he wants to present. And when you listen to them, he's not wrong, but there's definitely a lot of nuance here that Jennifer Walters has no idea about. All right, as we come to the end of my review, something I want to touch on was I love the conversation between Jennifer Walters and Hulk. I think that was incredible. I even like the fourth wall break when Hulk says,
That fight was so many years ago, I'm a completely different person now. Literally.
And what I love about that is it works within the universe, because Hulk is different now. Hulk is different. Hulk was able to integrate and merge his two identities. So from his perspective, he's telling the truth. But Jennifer Walters, it cuts to Jennifer Walters. She looks into the camera, does the fourth wall break, and does this, haha. And I thought that was just a cherry on top, a chef's kiss to how to handle. Are they ever going to talk about how, the actor that played Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk looks different from The Incredible Hulk to Avengers? And you never thought, well, I don't think it'd be ever possible to bring up Alright, so you get to the end of the episode and boom! We finally get a reference to Shang-Chi. Yes, Emil Blonsky leaked video has now come out from a underground fighting cell. I think it was in Moscow.
Blonsky's attorney after shocking footage leaked showing the Abomination participating in what appears to be an underground fight club after having somehow escaped from prison.
I feel like She-Hulk is starting to become the connective tissue of Phase 4 MCU, and we may see more. The fact that we get to explore this character for this amount of time, I couldn't be happier. Alright, so we get the after credit scene. I like this one. It's not my favorite after credit scene, but I appreciate that we get this extra material because it's nice to see Jennifer Walters working with her family, carrying super heavy water jugs, putting up a huge giant flat screen TV. I love that these after credit scenes. I really do hope they carry on with every single episode. Episode 3 has one of my top post-credit scenes in the whole MCU. Let's get to my verdict. I gave the first episode an 8.5 out of 10. I would definitely give episode 2, Superhuman Law, an solid 8 out of 10 for sure. I think the pilot deserves a little bit more respect because it's the first entry and it kills it. And it's really always difficult to follow up with the first. You know, we'll talk more about the third episode and how much I really like that, and it could be a little bit better than the second. But now, just to kind of cover a little bit of my criticisms, I would honestly say I do kind of wish these episodes were longer. I know people hear this criticism. For me, you know, there's other series out there that can expand, you know, almost a solid hour in some of their own content. I don't necessarily know why it's so bite-sized, but I definitely know that when they've made it and they've paced it out the way that they've chopped up the episode, you leave me wanting more. And that's ultimately a great feeling, as long as it's not then with the following feeling of, I didn't get enough. And that could be where some people find their criticisms with these episodes. Now, in no way am I saying I don't like this episode. This episode is top shelf. This is what I want Marvel Disney Plus shows to be moving forward. I really hope you loved my review, kind of a breakdown of episode 2, Superhuman Law. I'm loving She-Hulk so far. It's keeping my interest. It's honestly one of the only shows kind of right now I have to see immediately. I know right now we have Lord of the Rings and we also have House of Dragon. I'm waiting for those shows to be completely out. I'm gonna binge those and then I'll give you kind of an overall review of those series. Alright, that does it. I hope you guys enjoyed my content. Please let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram. Check out my Twitter. I'm working on these things. It's taking a bit of time. Hey, you know, we all find out the hard way. Editing is time consuming. I definitely wish I had the time stone. I could easily warp this and get this all done before you ever knew it. But yeah, just bear with me. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.